You probably recognize this guy if you watch Court TV, Vinnie Politan, every night. Well, in Idaho, it's on like 9 to 11, but
it repeats. Yeah. It because it's live, so every time zone's a little different. Idaho has an interesting time zone deal, right?
Yeah, we're the mountains, so it's like.
But isn't there like a part of your state that's further east, but is in like the West Coast?
Yeah.
Time zone. Idaho confuses me.
Well, on election night, we have to wait till that one little chunk closes, so we're waiting extra longer. But why else does it confuse you?
Because I worked at Court TV and been working here since the turn of the century. And we haven't done much in Idaho for years. Now, all of a sudden, Idaho is the new Florida. Right. What is going on there? Is there something? Did you guys change something in the water?
I don't know.
What is it?
Yeah, we're ready for someone else to take the prominent cases. Let's start with the Daybell case.
Yes.
You've been following that one closely, and Lori, of course, found guilty. Any thoughts about Chad's trial coming up?
It's going to be way different. Way different. Number one, his lawyer. I get impressed by very few defense attorneys, okay? Some of them I take with a grain of salt. Yeah, this guy's smart. He's super smart. And I get the feeling when he's in a courtroom, despite the fact that there's a judge there, like he's in charge. He's got that aura about him. I've never seen him in front of a jury, but I'm wondering if he can command a jury the way he's commanded some of these pretrial motions and just the way he is. And he's so smart. And there's also a difference. He was able to watch the first trial, which is brilliant, right? So all of that. And he has a client now who I believe, and I don't know what the defense is going to be, but I believe he will take Lori and her brother Alex, put them together, wait for a bus to come rolling by the courthouse and throw them right under it, okay? For everything. It was Lori and her insane homicidal brother that are responsible for everything. That's what I think. I don't know, but I think it's a way different trial, and this one's like, it's gonna be like, everything's gonna be fought like for real, for real.
You said you hadn't seen his attorney in front of a jury. You weren't able to see the first trial because cameras weren't allowed in.
Yeah, like what's going on? Like if you're the new Florida, be Florida. Florida, there's a camera everywhere. Right? Because of the sunshine laws. That's the best disinfectant for our system of justice. How are people supposed to trust our judicial system if they're not allowed to see it? Right? It starts, of course, with Chief Justice Roberts. Like, why can't we watch the Supreme Court in action, making decisions that impact all of our lives? It starts there, but it goes state by state by state. The courtroom, my father was a federal judge. The courtroom does not belong to the judge. It doesn't belong to the prosecutor. It doesn't belong to the Bar Association. It belongs to the people. It's our government. It's a branch of government. It's ours. We should be able to see and hear, because there was one time a judge let cameras in but no microphones, just sticking it to us. But why?
That does a lot of good on TV.
Yeah. Why can't we see what's happening? And the truth is, regardless of why the cameras are there and what the nature of the case is, the more Americans that see our system working, the more they'll understand it, the more they'll appreciate it. And when they get that notice in the mail to do their civic duty and serve on a jury, I think they'll understand the process better and they'll be better jurors. And I think our whole system will get better if they understand. You get jurors that walk, they've never been in a courtroom, and now they're deciding whether someone lives or dies. Like, let them see justice. Let them understand it.
And that's the issue being debated now in Kohberger, the judge deciding whether that. How do you foresee that case going? I mean, the trial was supposed to start in 2 weeks. It's not happening. Yeah. Will we have that anytime in the next year or so?
Well, let me give you my background. I was a prosecutor in New Jersey. There was a case, a murder case. He was 9 years old, and the guy was in jail, and it still hadn't been tried. So I come from a jurisdiction practicing where I've seen it takes years for murder cases to come to trial because they're generally complicated, et cetera. But then when I got to Court TV and I traveled around the country, every jurisdiction was different. So, again, I haven't spent much time in Idaho, I am now. And like I feel like I should get residency because every night on my show we're like in Idaho, right? But we'll see. I think we should be able to get there relatively soon. But his defense team also very impressive, very thorough, and because it's a death penalty case, litigating every issue. I'm a former prosecutor. I want that. I want that for our system. Strong, and everyone says, "Oh, Vinnie, you hate defense attorneys." No. Well, some I do, but no. I appreciate the job they do, and I know what they have to do. Because if we don't have defense attorneys fighting, then we end up with dishonest prosecutors, which we never want. Good defense attorneys keep prosecutors honest, and both of them should want cameras in the courtroom to see justice. And this is from my experience in states and jurisdictions where there's this discretion. The ones who don't want cameras in the courtroom generally are the ones who aren't confident and don't want the public to see them at work. Sometimes it could be a lawyer, sometimes it could be a judge, because they're not confident in the job they do. The most confident judges are the ones that I've seen who said, "Yeah, cameras, bring them in here. I'm in charge of my courtroom. This is not going to be a circus because I'm in charge." And those cases, we get to see the way justice plays out. I'll give you a quick example. Kyle Rittenhouse. Whatever you think about the case, there were passionate views in that case, and I saw it as a divide, and basically on political grounds. Right. Then when the trial played out in court and people saw and heard the evidence, there were some going in who thought, "Oh, Kyle Rittenhouse is a racist and he's guilty." Then they saw and heard the evidence, and they're like, well, it's a little different. I didn't even realize who the victims were in the case. And then they saw it, and there was a faction that actually was like, well, okay, I get it. They understood the verdict because they saw the evidence. So
we're going to have you come and speak to our judges. How's that?
I would love to. And I've done that in some jurisdictions. We've done that, and Court TV's done that as a network. Yeah. I think the judges should just talk to some of the other judges who've had cameras in there and understand that you're still in charge. Right. And you can set reasonable parameters, but allow the people in your community and people around the nation see our system work. Right. Because it does work. It does work. And we understand the verdicts and can trust them if we've seen all the evidence.
What do you think of CrimeCon? First year here?
First time. This is something. It's really a great opportunity, first of all, to meet guys like you in person. Right. But it's also to meet the people who come to CrimeCon. And when you talk to them, and I know you know this, like you hear why they are followers of true crime, because they want to see justice. Many of the people here are advocates for cases that are unsolved, for missing people, even people that they don't know. And, whether it's an investigator, a journalist, a prosecutor, a defense attorney even, all of us at some point are seeking justice, in however we perceive that in the circumstances of that case. And I think that's ultimately what this is all about. And to meet those people, and I just had a moment I wasn't expecting, and I think that's what happens here. I'm just doing a meet and greet with folks, and then someone said, "Hey, Vinnie," and I looked over there, and I saw a guy, and I recognized him sort of, and he says, "Oh, yeah, I'm Gabby Petito's dad," and he was there with Gabby Petito's other dad. Right. And I've only seen these guys from their press conferences, and I spoke to one of them via Skype, but then to see both of them here in person, it blew me away. Right. And that's also what it's about. And I got, they handed me one of these. Oh, yeah. She touched the world. Yeah. And it brings up, for me, it's when I have difficulty on air sometimes, because it's personal, is when you start talking to dads. Right. And I have a daughter, they lost their daughter, and in all these cases, you try to imagine what are they going through. You can't imagine the depth of it, but you get that feeling. And it's moments like that at CrimeCon that make it all worth it, really.
Well, good seeing you. Vinnie Politan, closing arguments every night, Court TV.
Yeah, at some time, depending upon where you live in Idaho,
just
right?
TiVo it, or set your DVR. Do they say TiVo anymore?
Great to see you.
Thanks, Vinnie.
Great to see you.